All right, everyone, the rope-a-dope has failed. Donald Trump clings to his original line, which he has since the 1980s, as far as I know, possibly before that, we're not 100% sure, on abortion, which is that it is a states' rights matter and an individual voter matter. It is not a federal level issue. I am so glad that he did not take the bait. Joe Biden has continuously tried to take abortion from a back burner issue and put it on the front burner because he can't run on the economy, he can't run on the border, he can't run on diplomacy. He's a little bit sparse on issues that he can actually run on other than Donald Trump is going to, put you barefoot in the kitchen if you've got a vagina, or Donald Trump is going to be an insurrectionist. He's going to take over the world and become dictator. The latter is generally reckoned by most voters, I think, as being hyperbolic. I think that most people realize that's bullshit. But abortion does threaten to be a mainline issue used against Republicans, because some of the Republicans, they come out, they try to make it a national issue. They're like, well, yeah, we need a national law on abortion or something like that. I've warned and warned and warned these people that's not a good idea. You campaigned for decades, actually, on this particular issue being about states' rights. So one state is going to have abortion free, legal, subsidized maybe, totally available. They'll have very few exceptions, and effectively abortion is legal. In some cases, the liberals overstretch and appear to insinuate that this would be up to the moment of the child actually being born, something that most voters do not agree with. Other states will have it much more restricted. I find it unfortunate that there are some states that have effectively banned abortion and are even attempting to prosecute against people that go across state lines to obtain one. I can't get hip to that. It's not my particular view. I think that abortion should be dissuaded when possible. If there's a possibility that the child is born, there's adoption, etc., etc. There's cesarean sections. You don't want to ruin your vagina or something like that. That's your main concern in life. Well, then get a C-section. Nobody cares about that scar. It looks perfectly fine. Dudes like scars. Just trust me. That's perfectly fine. It should not be something that is necessarily applauded, like, oh, abortion's such a wonderful thing, haha, killing fetuses. That's not my feeling, but I do believe that it needs to be legal at least through the first trimester, and there needs to be an exception for if a woman's life is in danger. The state should not be able to condemn a person to death simply because they're pregnant, and the state generally should not interfere with a woman's decision-making anyway. Nor with a man's, by the way. You're opening up a can of worms if you say that the state has the right to tell women what they can and cannot do with their bodies. Pretty soon the state's going to use that precedent against you dudes as well. Oh, you're not allowed to use your dick in this manner. We're going to mandate that we circumcise every infant or something like that. Don't put it past them to actually use that precedent. Should you establish such laws, you are opening up a legal can of worms because that's how the legal system works. Trump is fundamentally correct, and he just defused a ticking time bomb, by the way. The Democrats know that putting this issue to the fore will gain them certain independent voting blocks. They'll cast the Republicans off as a bunch of crazies and say, look, they want you to not be able to abort. Your 15-year-old daughter had sex, and it was a mistake, he didn't pull out, the condom broke, and now she's forced to give birth, or something like that. That's the image that they want to cast off on the Republican Party. And that is a very, very good political pitch, by the way, should they be able to do so. But when your main candidate says, I wash my hands of this issue, it's a states' rights issue. I campaigned on it before. We ended Roe v. Wade. I'm happy about that. But now the states can hammer it out. Yeah, in some cases, that means that a state will make a decision that I don't personally agree with, but it's not my problem. Oh boy, is this wise of Donald Trump. By keeping it a state's issue, he effectively takes away the Democrats' ability to push it as a federal issue at all. Well, the candidate's not proposing any particular ban or any particular national level regulation. He's just saying let the states do it themselves and let the voters decide. And in most cases, by the way, the voters will decide that something around 12 to 15 weeks, that's about the sweet spot. It's in most of the civilized world. At some point there's a cutoff. There will be an exception for a woman who is in danger, so she's 18 weeks in, but she's going to die if she doesn't have an abortion literally right now. Fetus isn't viable. That is what most voters agree is appropriate. Now, I know what some of you will say. Some of you will say that that's unacceptable because every abortion is a murder and you're killing babies and Styx, Hex, and Hammer likes blood rituals and stuff like that. I assure you, I only use my own blood in rituals. That being said, be pragmatic. If you don't win an election, then you can't influence public policy, right? Well, if you go out in anything but the most red districts and you propose a national abortion ban, are you going to get elected? No, you're going to get fucking crushed. The left has the same fundamental problem. There's the same blind spot among the far left and the further right. So people that are more like evangelocons, the moralistic side of the Republican Party, they generally overlap with the GOP. Not always, but usually. They've got the same blind spot. You're raised in a cornfield in Wyoming, and you think that the way that people around you think is the way that people should act everywhere in the country. The left has the same problem. They tend to come from New York City, San Francisco, Chicago, someplace like that. They think that farmers literally grow cans of vegetables in their fields. They have no idea how to grow food. They have no idea what noise a chicken makes. They don't know how many udders are on a cow. This is a big issue with the Fred Tuttle election, actually, long ago in the state of Vermont, leading to the very funny movie Man with a Plan, which all of you are commanded to watch, by the way. It's pretty much the most Vermont thing that you can possibly imagine. Fred Tuttle, great dude. Met him once with my mom, actually, outside of the grocery store in White River Junction. They think that the way in which they live their life, so their urban existence, is the way that all people should live, and so they can't really understand flyover country or something. They can't even understand 90% of the state of New York. Yeah. Most of the state's population cloistered in a few very, very blue areas. The rest of the state is actually goddamn Redneckville. Have you ever been up in the Catskills? Some of you haven't. Same with Vermont. You come to Rutland, you're going to see some good old boys. It's not exactly the same as being in Montpelier or Shelburne, someplace like that. Some tourist town, maybe over in Woodstock. It hits a little bit differently. People have this weird sense that the opinions that are held by the people directly around them, their compatriots, the people that they're used to, are the opinions that are held in the rest of the country. It does not translate to a national platform. Donald Trump is acutely aware of this, and I have a feeling that I know why. It's again the same reason why he's so good with foreign diplomacy. He is used to other cultures, he's used to other groups of people, he mixes it up with as many people as possible because he wanted money, and so he gets used to them. And so he understands. There's a little bit of a difference between somebody who owns 10 acres of corn in Iowa and somebody who owns a penthouse in New York City. Their priorities are probably not the same. A lot of Republicans don't have that experience, didn't get the memo, and they keep trying to push abortion as a national issue, and it is a terrible idea. You will lose. Well, then you're basically handing abortion as an issue to the left at that point, because you fucked yourself. Okay, so now we have 9-month abortions nationwide. Oh, you got your abortion bill. Nationwide. Federal law now. Abortions will be legal at all times for any reason on demand, and nobody can refuse to perform them. Do you want that? Do you want millions and millions more fetuses to die? Because that's exactly what you're going to be giving them. Thank God that Donald Trump is more wise than a lot of these morons. That's about all. Peace out.